Previously on Inside Scoop.
This is, as far as we can tell, at least the third time she's tried this maneuver.
Yes.
I'm coming and staying with you for a month.
Because instead of we have a relationship, let's see if we can work out living together and see if it works, it's the opposite. Let's move in together, see if it works, and see if we can make a relationship.
This is like Married at First Sight.
It's totally the cart before the horse.
This one didn't even make it a day.
I'm Kelly.
And I'm Steve.
And this is Coupled with Chaos.
90 Day Fiancé Inside Scoop, Volume 183. Some days, miracles happen. We are here.
We are indeed.
I think personal podcasts will get more into what the day's events have brought us, but we're here, right?
Somehow.
So this is what we got this week. We've got Ari and Biniyam, Brandon and Mary. We've got Seeking Sister Wives. That trailer dropped. HEA trailer dropped. Jibri and Miona. We're going to squeeze Little Housewives in the mix. Single Life and 90 Day Diaries will all be a part of what we talk about today. Let's start out with Ari and Biniyam. Now, unfortunately, what happens is because you have had this surgery, life is a bit of a crazy hot mess for us. Although when I come home, we spend a lot of time together. It doesn't seem to be a lot of 90-day talk going on.
There is not. Of course, there's not a lot of 90-day shows to talk about right now.
Yeah. So what have you got? What do you know about Ari and Biniyam right now?
Trying to think.
Photos this week?
Everything's a
We
blur.
haven't talked about this at all. Normally, we'd have some conversation.
Photo surfaced from a private, I think, Instagram account or TikTok account. It was actually a video, but since it was a private account, somebody surfaced screenshots from it
How many
showing
did you see?
Biniyam snuggling and kissing on another woman.
What did you see?
I didn't see it at all. I just read the story.
So, wow, I wish you would have seen it. So what I've seen is about 6 or 7 photos, and some of them, it would almost be like photo booth photos. You know, we've all been through those where you're in with somebody.
You're posing, yeah.
Right, but a couple of them, he's posing, looking at her, and there are some, I'm going to say, if they're not kisses, they're close to kisses. If you could understand how Biniyam would look at somebody before he kissed them, this is the look. So either he's a good actor or this is something.
Like, he's got a new love.
I would put the woman, and I'm not trying to be judgy here, but I would put her at maybe 40
Really?
or 40 plus.
Wow.
35 to 45. Black hair, an attractive woman.
How old is he now?
I don't know.
It's been years.
Mid-30s, I would think, right?
Okay. So his age.
I know this, and when we're in our role and we're not in surgery, and I'm not installing dishwashers and banging up my breaking fingers,
Cleaning up dog pee.
I'd probably have this information at my fingertips. But since my fingertips are all busted up, it's not possible. Yeah, I think in mid-30s is what we know. This is something. Like, we'd heard stuff about this before.
About them separating.
Yeah, and it was, well, I'm not so sure. But these photos are something, having seen them.
Interesting.
There's meat to this. And on top of that, this is what you don't probably know. There was like an Instagram thread of something, and Ari posted this. She said, "I'll tell Biniyam you think he's cute. He's single," is what Ari said in a response.
Interesting.
That makes this something. Those two things combined are something. We were watching, and we have been, and during our prepping you for the evening, you've been introduced really to Married at First Sight Australia, the last season, not the current season. And I think we saw it with one of the couples, right? It was that she was so just negative.
Yes. Looking for there to be a problem.
And then she would find one.
Yes.
And but when it came down to the final commitment ceremony, he had gone, you know what?
I've had enough.
Yeah, this is not good.
Yeah.
And I
and
can't-
she had flipped the script. But it was like she was determined to make sure it didn't work out and that it was somehow his fault. But it was really her the whole time.
Yeah, and I can't think of, when I think of Ari.
Yeah, she's that kind of person.
Yeah, it was really something that I thought that this was a direct
Right, it's
comparison.
about playing the victim. I'm a perpetual victim. Don't you feel sad and sorry for me at the way I'm treated? When it's not so bad.
Biniyam has severe flaws. Maybe not something that can't be worked through.
I think in his basis, though, he's a nice guy.
Yeah, he has some, I think he has a hard time in a real relationship delivering what a...
Yeah, he's not going to sit and have a deep conversation because he's non-confrontational. He avoids having conflict. And because he avoids having conflict, they don't have hard conversations that are two-way. She talks at him, and he takes it.
He's just
But
not...
they don't make progress because he doesn't participate in the communication.
Yeah.
And that's a big flaw. Because that'll be a problem in every relationship he's in. Unless it's perfect.
Yeah, so we're not making out like Ari is just bad and
No,
Biniyam
but even
is
if
good.
he was a good communicator, I still think she'd find a way to play the victim.
Well, because it was like that. What was it? Duncan, right? Duncan was
Yes.
the guy. And there was not a whole lot wrong with Duncan.
No. In fact, even the counselors on the show
Right.
said that he was the luckiest person in the room because he was like the perfect guy of everyone there.
And he was all right to look at, too.
And he sure was.
Hey, now. So this isn't a big surprise. I think you probably called this early and probably years ago that this just wasn't going to work.
No.
And for her, it's a lot of, she's going to run to Leandro. I mean, you said it maybe a month ago
Yeah.
that you see her dropping off the kids and running back to some foreign country somewhere.
Yes. For sure. Because I don't actually think she wants to be tied down in a family. And I think that's part of the problem. She wants to be the free spirit she's always been, but now she's got a kid.
Yeah. I mean, we saw this last week in Single Life. It was like, the boredom of I got to get dinner together on Tuesday, or we have to figure out what to eat, or whatever it turns out to
Right.
be. It's like, that's not exciting.
She doesn't want mundane day-to-day life. She
Right.
wants adventures.
It would be like the 3 days, and this is going to get really personal, right? The 3 days of our nearly incapacitated dog, not quite incapacitated, but close.
Yeah.
Sometimes can't control herself.
Yeah.
And goes to the bathroom on her bed.
Yeah.
And
Because she can't get up.
The 3 days that it takes to get her bed back ready so she can use it again is not fun work.
No.
There's foam and you got to pull everything off and it's
The whole
soaked
thing
with
has to be
whatever.
disassembled and washed separately, and then it takes days to dry.
Yeah. It's this. I'm not saying I'm not trying to compare married life and family to that, but those are real things that happen.
Yeah, and she's probably not going to be up for that.
It's not exciting, right?
Yeah.
There-
And what drove it home for me, that she's still that way, even though the kid's a little older now, is because she was staying at a hotel and had the kid in daycare. And she was just there by herself. Why did you need daycare?
I don't know. That would be, just between us, that wouldn't be so bad, would it?
Right. Wouldn't we all like to do that?
Yeah, I'm jealous a little, maybe.
A vacation from your life.
That would be good.
Imagine that.
But I think it's what she wants, perpetual vacation
Yes,
from her
I
life.
do too. And you would think that if she was going through a difficult time with her husband, she would be clinging to her kid. It's a comfort. It really is.
I think you see it so often in troubled marriages with children, right? You see And more often than not, it's the mother, right? and how close they become with their child.
You get extra close because you go, this is what's good in my life. I'm going to treasure this.
And even years down the road, right? You go, we've been through this battle together.
Right.
You're battle tested, right?
Yeah.
We've packed everything up in a trailer with wheels on it, and we've moved across town 4 times together. Like, we got this, right? We've done it before. We'll do it again.
Yeah.
But Ari, it isn't like that.
No.
And you think her parents are?
I think they enable her.
Yeah.
I think she led a privileged life and was allowed to do whatever, wherever the wind blew her, whatever her fancy was, she did. And they sponsored it.
And so
I think she still lives that way.
It's never made her stick to something.
Right. She's never had to finish anything.
Yeah.
She didn't finish her marriage.
I talked about it in work, right? I'm the best job starter ever. If you want to hire somebody to start construction projects, I would love to do that.
I really honestly think she still is in love with her first husband.
Yeah. Well, I think she's always going to be in love with something else.
Right. But she, again, didn't stay with him because she wanted to be a free spirit. She doesn't want to be tied down.
And he wanted to get an education, get a
Go
career,
figure.
to do the things that you would be a relatively responsible adult would do.
Right.
Obviously, there's details we don't know, but we're there.
And she frowns upon that.
We have got Brandon and Mary, Seeking Sister Wives, HEA, Jibri, Miona, some Housewives, Single Life, and Diaries coming up next.
Thank you for listening.
You can listen to the rest of this episode
By subscribing to our Coupled with Chaos channel on Apple,
by subscribing to our Patreon
or by subscribing to our Supercast,
for $3.99 a month.
where you can hear us talk about reality shows,
Real life and more on our podcasts.
covering shows airing on TLC, A&E, Bravo, and the WE Network.
Just follow the instructions in the show notes
Tell your friends about this podcast.
and rate and review us on your favorite podcast player.
Follow us at Coupled with Chaos on all the socials.
Or contact us directly by email at coupledwithchaos@gmail.com.